Hi everyone, I just wanted to go through a couple of the backgrounds that I have sketched out and then what the so far final versions look like. So here we have the establishing shot. It's a piece of land that is in the sky and it floats. There's various buildings and temples and trees, and also a little waterfall comes out and goes over the side here. Very fantastical, absolutely not grounded in any sort of real world logic at all. Like, where is this water source coming from? How is this floating up in the clouds? Absolutely no one knows. It's magic. So the idea for this one is that this is the safe place of our main character in the sky and where she jumps from down through the clouds. Because before in the storyboards, I didn't put in an establishing shot. I was like, I don't need that. It doesn't really matter where she is in the beginning, like where she drops to, because the fight is in the abandoned / currently being destroyed city on the floor. It did matter. I could not leave without an initial establishing shot. So this is that. And this is what the background ended up looking like. I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. It's quite different to how I imagined the color script. It's a lot more pink and purple than the yellow that I originally was going to go for. But I'm not mad about it. It looks better. Sometimes I can plan out my animation and when I get to making it, it just does not look right. And I do something completely different and I'm much happier with it. Could not do that on a proper real project because that would hold everything up. But it's just me. I make the decisions. So next one, this is the initial sketch where they walk up the steps. Very, very quick. Doesn't really need a lot of detail. I have expanded it a little bit. These flowers have not been included in the final because I wanted to animate them in Blender. So they're going to be like little extra add-ons that I include when it gets time to animate them. And this is what that background looks like. As you can see, no flowers. So third background, this is the cliff where we see our character standing at the edge looking over. Really pleased with how this sketch turned out. I was on a roll and I was absolutely gutted when during the live stream I realized that I had a different version of Blender being recorded and no one saw me draw these 3/4 backgrounds. No one saw me draw this one either, I don't think. And I went back to it and I was like, I'm really sorry, but you know, this is the end result. For this one, this is the colored version. Again, we're going for the pinks, purples, very muted blues. Now the way I get these backgrounds to be consistent is that I will copy over the texture and gradient layers from the previous shots. So the first one with the establishing shot was my sort of style frame for this scene, and I copied over the textures, the gradients and the blending mode so I could then use that as a template to make this. And so this is the next background where the character lands, and I'm going to have like some swoopy effects animation come towards the camera as they land, and then they will look up and then we'll transfer to the eye shot, which hopefully will be my favorite. But this background looks like, now originally I was like, this is what I want. It's very purple, dark, gloomy at the bottom underneath all the clouds that they've just fallen through. But the thing with that is the way I usually do backgrounds, if there is like a long falling section, I will need a longer background. So I made a couple of extra ones. I have imported the sketch here, and then if I display current, I have added some extra clouds on top and then left this bit blank. If I turn this off, you'll see that I've made a larger, longer gradient from another background, which I'll show you in a minute, that I can use as sort of a background to my background to slide at a different rate with the camera move when the character is falling. And then I have like an overlay and then like a second one just to make it a bit brighter. This background, I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite sketches from this. And this is what it looks like. I'm super pleased with this. I definitely got into more of a groove with the backgrounds once I'd done like the first few. So there are a few layers in this for the ground. So I this is like the first layer of the ground, and then I added some extra bits on top. So this is another layer for more of a lighter section, and then this one for some extra shadows. So I have a base, light and shadow on top, top, and then I have a couple of bits that are separate. So this is the very leftmost building, this is the blank frame. And then this is some background stuff on the right. This building is one that will be moving, and then we have the line work on top, and then this one is on the other side. This will be moving, the line work, this is where the sketch was, and then we've got various bits in the front and foreground to mask any movements that the buildings might make. And then of course we have the textures. So if I turn that off, so this building and this building will move, and then everything else is on separate layers, and then we have these extra bits to cover up the ground. Also, there will be some clouds and things in front when the creature moves, shoves the buildings aside and comes through. I'm always very tempted to make the super distant silhouettes in the background darker, but obviously if you look at references and pictures of stuff, the closer something is to the camera or the viewer, it is going to be darker, and the further away something is, it's going to be lighter. Although depending on your light source, but this is what we're working with. So the references I used were like this, and I think it actually looks really good. I'm so pleased with how they turned out. So the next background is this one. This is the side on where our character stands and the creature lunges forward to bite them, and then they swoop up. And I was like, you know what, this will be fine. And then I was like, actually, no, it will not be fine, because if the character goes up, I actually want the camera to be able to follow or cut towards that, and then if I have a larger background of this shot, I can then reuse it for a later one. So this is what I went with, and you'll recognize this guy from the other background that I used. I basically just repurposed this shot and pasted it in the bottom. Our character will be here, the other creature will lunge in to bite them, and then you have all this sky that I can then move the camera up or down or place it in different locations if I wanted to, and then it just gives me a bit more wiggle room when I do the animation or have to like move the background around. After that we have the ground area, ground shot, where the creature is here and then it looks up at the character and then lunges towards the camera, and that is just super simple. This one, although it's super simple, it gave me the most trouble considering how simple it is. I was like, actually, I've tried to match most of the shots, if not all the shots, to different camera moves. So if there's a rock in one place and the camera angle changes but the rock is still visible, I will try and put the rock in the new place. Sometimes it's just more effort than I probably should be putting into a 30-second animation that I was only doing on a whim, and it was meant to be a 1-month prompt. But here we are. Again, we're carrying on the purple yellow theme. This is the same gradient that I used in a previous shot, but it doesn't really matter. It looks good and it fits with the theme, the yellow and purple theme. So this is the original color script. As you can see, things are very, very different. The intro is not yellow and gold and orange. It is actually very light purples and pinks and blues, which I like. This middle section is not green. It has been switched to the purple section, which is still purple, thankfully. Like, I don't change all the things all the time, just most of the things some of the time. And then this end section, I still haven't decided the palette I want. Definitely brighter, maybe less purple, more warmer, brighter colors. But that is today's task, and I will keep you updated on that. But I really hope you enjoyed this little look into the backgrounds, what they look like so far. And if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer them.